My name is Hilton, and I will be presenting this paper that myself and Derrick Theophile prepared. And I am a fisheries officer working within the fisheries division in Dominica. And the title of our paper is The Evolution of Data Collection, Analysis and Reporting of Fisheries Data for the Commonwealth of Dominica. And the main aim of our paper was to sort of highlight the changes over a 29-year period of data collection, which included paper-based data collection at landing sites, having a data entry clerk, putting in the data, storage of data in Microsoft Access, and analyzing using Microsoft Excel, to completely changing everything to utilizing electronic data collection in Kobo Toolbox, and then analyzing and reporting of data using the R statistical software. And in terms of format, the presentation will include a quick background and study area, timeline of changes, some electronic data collection. We'll take a look at paper versus electronic data collection or future works, and some conclusions and recommendations that we want to just propose from our own experience. Now, in terms of background, just to quickly introduce Dominica, is a small island within the Eastern Caribbean between the two French countries of Guadeloupe and Martinique. And the country is relatively small with an area of 750 square kilometers and is home to about 72,000 persons, most of whom reside primarily along the shore or in low-lying areas. We have an exclusive economic zone which covers an area of about 20,653 square kilometers, and we have like the territorial sea extending 12 nautical miles from land. Now, Dominica doesn't have that much of a continental shelf, and we consider to be fairly narrow, mostly found on the east side, with about 50 meters depth contour, reaching a maximum distance of 2.8 kilometers from the coast. Now, in terms of the fisheries sector in Dominica, we consider it to be small scale and artisanal, consisting of like individual fishers and small groups using open fishing vessels for short trips, which normally last for a few hours of each day. We have no industrial fleet segment, and all our fish are basically consumed internally with minimal export. Now, when we talk about data collection, we have data collection being conducted at the time of landing, where it is pretty much possible to accurately identify where, we count the species landed, including the catch gear specification. And at the Fisheries Division, we have a routine records being collected at 14 of our 31 landing sites around the island, which you can see in this map. The field data collection process in Dominica involves assigning trained data collectors to 1 or 2 landing sites, which are generally near their homes, which they visit at least 3 days within the work week to document fishing activities for about 1/3 of all boats which are landed at each site. Now, before January 2021, all field data were recorded using printed forms, and these forms were compiled in a data book and then submitted for data entry at the main office at the Fisheries Division. However, from February 2021, the Fisheries Division upgraded its process, and we now use electronic forms on mobile devices to record and submit information from the field in what we'll consider to be near real time. And these forms were developed in-house by Derrick Theophile, and after testing and training of staff, it was deployed for use of data collection, which generally highlights one of the most recent changes that we have within the Fisheries Division. Now, if we take a look at the timeline from 1994, the Fisheries Division utilized free database for data entry and management since 1994. And this included the Trip Interview Program, the Unified Fisheries Database, and Kobo Toolbox. And just to talk briefly on some of these databases, TIP was introduced by CARICOM Fisheries, which is a segment and management program, in the early 90s to sort of give countries the ability to digitize data management systems across all member states. It was a MS-DOS-based desktop application, and it was simply designed to store and manage data related to data collector, fishing activity, fishing effort, catch gear, fish prices, and fish biology. Now, TIP also had the ability to export data in various formats, such as database files, text, and spreadsheets. Then, after that, the LRS system, which was a partner Mesos database application to TIP, used for managing fish and fishing details, was introduced. And TIP was supported for many years by CFRAM and then by CRFM, and it actually remains in use by some member states in the region. Moving on from there, in 2007, the Unified Fisheries Database was developed, which is a MS Access database, and it was sort of developed in response to challenges arising from attempts to upgrade TIP to CARIFIS in the early 2000s, and not all CRFM member states use CARIFIS due to technical issues with the software and insufficient training of staff. And the technical issues were often, like most, of concern to the Fisheries Division. And in the Unified Fisheries Database, we have had revision and upgrades where we have been able to add necessary functionality and capture new data as the fishery and monitoring program evolved. So during this time, analysis was done using Excel, but from 2015, we started using our statistical software for statistical analysis, and it sort of allowed scripts to be developed for annual reporting. Now, in 2017, while this is not a database or analytical change, Hurricane Mary hit Dominica and destroyed all people-based records that was at the Fisheries Division office in Roseau at that time, which sort of prompted the need for change of how we actually collect and store data. And then lastly, in 2021, we see the use of Kobo Toolbox being implemented and used for data collection at landing sites. And while we are on Kobo Toolbox and electronic data collection, Kobo Toolbox is a free and open source platform that works both online, offline and online, and is designed for collecting data in whichever environment. And one of the reasons that we use it because it is pretty much effortless to create some forms. You have offline data collection, which can be submitted once the user connects back to internet. It offers great data management, and in terms of data security, we believe that it is quite suitable for our needs at present. And comparing the paper-based and electronic data system that we have in Dominica now, the top section shows the paper-based system and the bottom one shows the electronic version or the electronic system that we are using now. And one of the key things that I have to point out here is that with the paper-based system, it is sort of disaggregated, it is broken, it is not a consistent flow. We have data collection taking place, which happens for both electronic and data collection system. But for the paper-based, we had collectors submitting the data every 15th of every month, and then we had manual data entry. And this would sort of introduce errors from having to type in information from data collectors. We had the problem of needing physical storage of forms submitted, and then data analysis and cleaning would have been done in Excel, and we would only have been able to report on anything annually. But when we introduced the electronic data collection system, what we find happening is that data is submitted in near real time, and we can actually provide feedback to data collectors immediately once we spot any errors. We have no need for large areas for storage, and we can do data analysis and reporting monthly and annually using scripts built in R, and not just annual reports, but we can also provide reports and feedback to fishers and on fish catch and some of the activities that they are conducting. In terms of future works, we want to integrate Calypso, which is the FA database, with Kobo Toolbox, and we are near that process, and we just need to finalize a few additional items. We want to continue assistance in the development of our local database, which is NAMIS, and we want to just have everything digitized, which includes our registration forms or vessel registration forms, research applications, and any other permits that we have within the Fisheries Division to reduce the use of any paper in our system and have everything stored on the cloud system. If I can make some recommendations, that management authorities should explore ways in which we can integrate technology into the fishing sector. There are many other options. It is free for exploration. To develop and sort of retrain staff or reorient staff to be able to use the electronic methods of data collection and even participate in data analysis using R and using the scripts, because once it's prepared, they will be available for use for anybody once they can read through the script. And then lastly, the encouragement is to don't forget the fisher folk and ensure that they understand the importance of data collection and they benefit from the implementation of some of these systems moving forward, because we need them on board to actually pull off some of these things that we want to do in terms of data collection. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions or not.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hilton, for sharing.